Hey, good morning, Peter.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us today. Here, let me reposition my camera a little bit.
Yeah, me too.
Um, so it's great to put a face to a name, as you know, but as many of our followers might not know, Portland is our newest roaster on trade. So we're super excited to speak with you guys and get you guys, a chance to introduce yourself to our followers. So Martin, why don't you
Thank you.
just, yeah, Martin, why don't you just start with, like a little intro, about yourself, what you do at Portland, and, kind of a little background there.
Sure. Well, thank you. Hi, everybody in Instagram land. My name's Martin Barrett. I'm the National Sales Manager with Portland Coffee Roasters. We're a roaster that's been in business for about 23 years. I manage the sales department, and I've been there for over 10 years, so I kind of have a finger and a foot in a lot of pies, helping with operations and being an all-round team player.
Yeah, that's great. So could you kind of tell us, like, especially now, a little bit more about your day-to-day at the company?
Sure, that's a very changed day to day. So
Yeah,
I'm not in my office right now.
yeah, I can tell.
I think we're, I wish this was, and I'm getting very used to working in this office. We've got like a 10-minute sun break and 2 weeks of rain, so I'm enjoying it.
Nice.
Things have certainly changed. I'm working remotely with my team remotely. So I think for a lot of us, it's kind of accelerated our remote working skills.
Sure.
Same for a lot of people. I have had the opportunity to go into work just to check on some things. It's good just to see the people that you work with. I
Yeah,
realize how much I love my team and how much I miss them. And just, the reconnection with people has been great. But procedures obviously have changed. Everybody has to wear a mask. There's protocol for walking
sure.
around the office, one-way systems in and out the office, and things have changed. But we're changing and we're adapting.
Yeah, that's great. Change is good, or so I'm told.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So could you just tell us a little bit more about Portland Coffee Roasters, like how you guys got started?
Sure. So the company was started in 1996 by the founder, Mark Stell. And 3 years prior to that, he had attended the very first Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.
Mhm.
And he had the opportunity to visit a coffee farm at that time. And I think he had a vision then of being able to create coffee and community, use coffee as a business tool to improve the lives of other people. And that's pretty much been our mission since we started. Very much with a, very much looking after our supply chain, but with an eye very fixed on sustainable practices as well.
Sure. So yeah, it'd be great if you could kind of like touch a little bit more on, sourcing your coffee.
Sure.
How has this focus on community helped foster relationships with your producers, and
Excellent.
how does that continue to shape like who you pursue? If you're looking for new producers and whatnot.
Sure. That's a really good question. I'm happy to talk about that. So I'd like to think that Portland Coffee Roasters was one of the first companies to kind of pioneer direct trade way back in the day. It's a practice that we've had for many years. I'll talk about two farming relationships that we have that demonstrate that. One with a lady called Megalina in Guatemala in the Tenango Valley. We've been buying coffee from her for over 20 years.
Awesome.
As a result of high quality coffee, but we know and trust her for all the practices, both holistic and environmental and humane. So there's a lot of social impact practices that she has at her farm for all the people that work there. And then the longest direct trade relationship we've had has been with a farm in Costa Rica with a gentleman called Arnoldo from the Medina Estates farm there. We have completed various projects, socially responsible projects for the children of the farm workers that work on that farm. So we provide school infrastructure there, a teacher, computers, so that when the migrant workers come through, the children of those workers can study and go to school while their families work on the farms.
That's great.
So that's one of our most established direct trade models. Another one is just working with tried and trusted importers who have kind of meticulous records, great relationships with those farmers themselves. We're able to visit the farms as well. Our director of coffee, Jesse Clark, he will go out and visit farms, talk to the producers, talk about, you know, their processes and production needs. Also their social needs as well. That's something we always want to address when working with farms. And then most recently, a program that we've entered into called Farm Gate, whereby we buy green coffee and parchment directly from those farming partners at a much, much higher price than fair trade prices.
Yeah.
So again, all of the coffee that we buy directly is always at higher than fair trade prices directly to the farming communities. And that's how we like to source.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, to hear that, you know, you're buying, you know, directly on the supply chain, but, you know, also at a premium, and also, you know, investing so heavily in the communities. I mean, that's really what we like to, you know, see and obviously honor here at Trade. So that is really great to learn. And kind of, you know, touching on the sustainabilities of, you know, your relationships with producers, you know, how else does Portland incorporate sustainability into its like day-to-day practices, you know, larger business model, etc.?
Sure. So we see sustainability as a kind of double approach to sustainability. One is obviously environmental, but also more importantly is social impact. So from an environmental standpoint, we have been a carbon neutral company since 2007. Again, we've tried to lead the industry in that direction. And
That's
just as
great.
everybody, how we do that is our roasting facility is 20,000 square feet. So it's, you know, mid-sized roaster. It is, our cafes and our roasting facility are entirely powered by renewable resources. I think we've purchased 433,000 kilowatts of renewable power since we've been doing this program. And that's about the equivalent to 433 Oregon homes per year being powered. So that's just an example of the environmental aspect. From a social impact point of view, for us, sustainability means making sure those coffee growing communities can continue to sustain themselves. So by paying over and above fair trade prices directly to them, but we also take part in a lot of socially responsible practices. So a lot of giving back projects, funding, infrastructure, a lot of health, water, hygiene, infrastructure at origin for those farming communities. If you take a look at our website, you'll see that we've been doing this kind of thing in various different ways for many, many years throughout the whole world as well.
Yeah, that's great. You guys definitely seem to be, you know, way ahead of the curve. I wish more businesses could have been carbon neutral as of 2007, but, you know, good to have you guys leading there at the forefront. So, you know, you've spoken about community, you know, obviously it's one of the main things that you guys are focused, you know, emphasize both like, you know, at origin, you know, and back at home in Portland. Could you just like tell us a little bit more about, you know, your role in the Portland community and kind of like just about the local coffee scene there and, you know, how you guys kind of fit in?
That's a great question. So, Portland has a thriving, or I hope it still has a thriving coffee scene. There's a very interesting organization in Oregon. It's kind of mostly based in Portland, but it's called the Oregon Coffee Board. And I think we were instrumental in setting this up. And that was to really bring everybody from the coffee community together to meet, to share best practices, whether it be roasting, you know, roaster fire suppression, business ideas, cupping techniques, pouring techniques, a lot of barista education.
Great.
And while we can all compete in our points of difference, you know, out there in the market, it's really good for that community to come together and just say, how could we as an organization lift everybody up? And then that just helps, you know, cement Portland's name as the home of great coffee. I think it really generates integrity for the state of Oregon as a great place to do business with the coffee community there. So rather than kind of elbowing people aside, we're very much an arms around company. So that's kind of local coffee community there in that respect.
That's great. I'd not heard of that, but that's definitely good that, you know, everyone's kind of on the same team in support of local business. Yep. We like to hear that. And, you know, good faith on everyone's part. So, you know, obviously the elephant in the room is the current coronavirus crisis. You know, we've sort of briefly touched on, you know, how that may have changed some things operationally for you, but, you know, how has your larger team been impacted, and, you know, what sort of additional challenges like have you come across or come up against, you know, in this time?
So, well, very sadly, we have been affected by this downturn. Yes. So we have had to furlough some employees. We had to close some retail cafes. I know from experience that was probably the hardest thing for the owner to initiate. I know that his focus is very much on getting those people back to work with us as soon as we can. From a reacting to point of view, you know, there's a couple of positive things that have happened.
Absolutely.
One, we were able to get our kind of HQ, our main #1 cafe open fairly quickly with some really sensible, smart, you know, it was a beautiful gathering space. So how do you turn that beautiful gathering space into a come and see us, but this is to go space? So, but we were able to flex and do that pretty quickly. And I think we were one of the first cafes in Portland to kind of get open again. And then we were also able to kind of positively support our immediate community. There's a boutique hotel quite close to us called the Doug Fir. They closed, but kind of essentially opened their doors to the Portland homeless community. So they have 81 rooms. So we donated 70 pounds of coffee to that hotel. It's just a couple of blocks from us, with an additional 70 bags to give to volunteers or to the guests. And then we also donated about several hundred pounds of coffee to the Urban Gleaners. That's an organization that, you know, will take out-of-date food or products with a, you know, low sell-by date, which is really totally fine. And we donated a lot of coffee, fresh coffee, to the organization. At work, the impact has really just been making sure that our current customers are looked after, that we are following the cleanest, safest, most hygienic protocols, that our employees are being looked after, and then also responding to the needs of other businesses.
Yeah.
Just like our grocery partners, they're scrambling. You know, there's a real huge surge in demand. So it's just making sure that when they say, hey, can you help us out? That we're there and we're on time and we deliver and we get, you know, we're not a high maintenance vendor, that we're just, you know, solid, reliable, dependable.
Yeah. Well, it's really great that, you know, you've found kind of some new opportunities or rejiggered opportunities, you know, in this time, but also, you know, really great on your organization for, you know, giving back to others at this time. You know, I think, you know, for ideal post-COVID world includes, you know, more give back and more initiatives like the ones that you guys have been undertaking. So, you know, again, it's so great to see you guys, you know, at the leading curve, you know, for all things social initiatives.
Yeah. We're not trying to flatten the curve on donating. We're
there you go. Yeah. That's a great soundbite. Yeah, that's awesome. We so appreciate, you know, you taking the time to, you know, while your own organization has changed or, you know, is changing, you know, always giving back. That is so awesome.
That change, Peter. That's just kind of part of
who we are.
Yeah. Our tagline is doing good and making good coffee. That's why I was drawn to the company. That's kind of why everybody who works there is on that mission.
Yeah. That is really great.
It's who we are. It's how we go about our business.
Yeah. That's so exciting. So, you know, just to wrap things up, you know, obviously
Sure.
you are new to the trade community, but wondering, yeah, we're so grateful to have you. Just wondering if, you know, you had any messages to our followers and, you know, any like last words from Portland and or Martin.
Sure. Well, hello everybody in Trade Coffee Land. And thank you Trade for this opportunity. I've been in this business for 10 years. I've seen a couple of subscription services come and go, or people having ideas for it, and it hasn't worked, but you guys have just knocked it out the park. So congratulations to you.
Oh, well, thank
I
you.
think it's a really good way to kind of democratize coffee choices for the whole of the United States community. I just want people in Instagram land to know, you know, I talked about it, doing good and making good coffee. That's who we are. If you're looking for a solid, reliable kind of companion coffee in these times of change, look no further, and know that you're doing the right thing by a lot of people when you choose our coffee. Thank you.
Well, I look forward to placing my order very soon. Thank you so much, Martin, and Portland Coffee Roasters. It's been really great to chat with you. And we will see you on our Instagram feed very soon.
Oh, I hope so. Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Take care, everybody. Stay safe.
Cheers.
Keep caffeinated.
Yes, always.